And we are back, folks. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the show. I really hope you've enjoyed the previous episodes. Declan Shelby, of course, having his finale just last week. But on the off chance that you are new, please head down to the description below. There will be the two links for episode 1 and 2. If you head over there and watch them before you watch today's episode, you will get an idea of what On Air is all about. Now, today's episode has been brought to us by the Beard Demon. The Beard Demon is a local beard product company brought to us by Kovex Games. Kovex is a local Twitch streamer. He is also a TikToker, and quite recently he did decide to dabble into the world of the beard products. Now, I was very fortunate recently to try one of his beard washes. Now, I'm a bearded man, as you can see. I absolutely adore beard washes, beard butters, beard oils. I am all for that, and let me tell you, the one I tried of his quickly shot straight up into my top 5 of beard washes. It was Himalayan cedarwood and tea tree, and he has this tagline. It's sinfully good beard care. I'm probably butchering that, but Kovex will be in the middle of this video to give you a proper introduction to his store, his shop, and where and how you can purchase them. Me speaking here isn't going to do this guy any justice. His stuff is absolutely fantastic and it smells, it's beautiful. I adore it. So, today's episode of On Air, we are talking to Heather Palmer and Kirsty Hunter, of course the fantastic writing duo behind the local graphic novel Smithers and Wing. Now, without further ado, before I continue to digress, welcome to On Air with FPI. Guys, please welcome to the channel Kirsty and Heather. Guys, thank you so much for fitting us into your busy schedule. How are you both?
No, thanks for having us. Yeah, great.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm on holiday, so no fitting into the schedule. It's all good.
Fantastic.
It's all comics.
Well, that's what I was about to ask there. There is a bit of a schedule. You guys have just released a brand new book. What can you tell us about that today?
Well, I feel like we never stop talking about it, but I'm very excited. Yeah, so Smithers and Wing, it's a queer graphic novel set in Edinburgh. There's a juicy mystery at the heart, but truly it's all about this queer couple who have taken on finding this missing schoolgirl, and to do so they have to really have a look at their own pasts and the sort of barriers that they have faced in their lives to get Katrina back.
Fantastic. Do you get anything to add, Kirsty?
Oh, Heather summed it up perfectly. But yeah,
Fantastic.
very much, yeah, these characters needing to deal with their own drama, but also kind of taking place in this sort of magical underbelly to Edinburgh as well, which is a really fun thing to work with.
That was one of the things that I felt while I was reading it. I read it pre-release, but obviously it was a supernatural read, but I kind of felt like this real, I don't know if it was because it's set in Scotland, you know, in Edinburgh, but I felt this kind of real life, maybe it was the writing and the art, but there was definitely a lot of realism drawn from, you know, obviously a supernatural story. So what was the kind of inspiration behind the writing and both the artistic style to keep, you know, in with a supernatural story but with a real life setting?
From my perspective, a lot of the way I wrote this Edinburgh was inspired by the film Dirty Pretty Things, which is all about this couple in London, and although it's London, it's almost completely unrecognizable. It's about this kind of undercurrent of the city, this, you know, incredibly famous landscape, but it's just all wrong. Like, it's all the landmarks are gone. And so that's really what I wanted to play with in Smithers and Wing, was to like remove those big, you know, like the castle, the mile, all of that, just to be pulled away and just be like, well, how do normal people navigate this city?
Absolutely.
Because normally you avoid all of that to
Yeah.
get far away from the hustle and bustle. So yeah, that's where I came from for that.
Yeah. I think as well, like definitely along with Heather, I didn't want to do any of the sort of, you know, touristy vibes of Edinburgh, because those aren't my favorite parts of it either. I'm also like a big fan of Glasgow. It's my city that I love best. And then I think also as well, I don't know about Heather's references, but I'm very fond of like procedural type shows like Law and Order, and I love kind of sort of grim thriller, like David Fincher movies, things with that kind of vibe. So there was a lot of kind of that I was trying to inject into the more investigative scenes, because that's just kind of what I find really fun as well.
Absolutely. And who came to who? So who came up with the idea first?
It was kind of simultaneous.
Wow,
I sort of demanded a comic from you, didn't I, Heather?
Yes, it was wonderful.
Yeah,
you said you wanted a book, and I was like, I'll write you a book. Dare me.
Yeah. I think I asked for something spooky and sexy and with ghosts. So you took that and then made like a much better comic out of that very strange brief.
I hope I delivered on some of the elements.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what it is at its core. Spooky, sexy ghosts.
So when could it, and this could have been on this book or any previous book, so when writing or drawing, do either of you have any interesting quirks?
It's quite hard to judge your own quirks, I think, because you're not fully sure what other people are doing. I know I don't script in a very prescriptive way, so a lot of my scripts don't have, unless it's like a one-pager for an artist I don't know, I don't tend to break it down into like panel. I'll just like put a little indent and be like, maybe have a panel here, it's up to you. So I do try to like allow a lot more freedom in the art process, because I trust Kirsty and I trust the artists I work with to know what they're doing, so I don't feel that I want to like be overbearing in that way. Sorry if you can hear my cat chomping on her biscuit in the corner. I hope you can't. If she stopped now to look at me, that's fine. Yeah, so I write a lot at night, write a lot through the night. I feel like Smithers and Wing, I actually wrote quite a lot of when I was working my old day job, so like quite a lot of that was happening at a till, you know, where people were probably trying to get stuff, and I was like, sorry, I'm very busy. What about you, Kirsty?
Yeah, I would definitely say I felt a lot of flexibility in terms of working with your script, and it was always nice. I could always kind of text Heather and be like, you've said this, but I kind of want to do this thing. Are you on board with it? Or would this be okay? Things like the page where the central panel is like a sort of framed portrait of this family. I think it was meant to be just kind of like in one of the original panels the way it was set up, and I was like, no, let's just be really weird and flashy about this. And there were like a fair few bits further on in the book where I was like, Heather, I want to stretch this out to more pages. Is it okay if I just start adding pages to the book like crazy? So, and like Heather was always like super supportive about stuff like that, and just always like really hyped with anything that we were kind of bouncing off each other. I'm trying to think if I have any weird working habits. I think most comic artists are weird because of just like all the time spent working by yourself, and I'm very much a sort of like procrastinate like crazy and then do a mad final push at the end. I also watched a lot of trash television, as long as it was like after the penciling stage, because that's too much brain power is involved there. But once it was like inking and colouring, I was like, okay, let's binge full seasons of Love Island just while we're getting through this.
You drew my book to Love Island.
I knew you'd be disgusted.
Horrified.
I'm sorry, it's the dark truth.
The horrible underbelly.
Well, I was going to ask if there was music behind, like, do you listen to any music when you're drawing? But I wasn't expecting Love Island. Took me by surprise. But yeah, anyway, is there any sounds that you listen to. I spoke with an artist previously who liked listening to the rain while he drew. So yeah, do you guys listen to anything while you're working?
Oh, definitely, yeah. When I'm kind of inking and it's still sort of very working stuff out, it's got to be quite instrumental stuff. So I've listened to a lot of like Legends of Zelda chill vibe YouTube playlists, basically. Just something like nice and minimal. And then when it comes to like coloring for some of the more dramatic scenes at the end, where there's like the demon stuff happening and we're trying to go like quite atmospheric with it, I had like a very over dramatic playlist that I'd made that was like inspired by the fantasy series Shadow and Bone. So it's like lots of like over the top Florence and Machine and like Metsuki and stuff in there. So that was like perfect for being in the zone for that.
That is perfect. Yeah, it's hard to remember because I wrote the script quite a long time ago, sort of probably tail end 2017 and through 2018. So probably I was listening to, a lot of Frightened Rabbit, very Scottish, of course, a lot of Father Son, and then later on, I was probably listening to a lot of like Mandalorian soundtrack and stuff like that, which I really enjoy. It's like a fantastic writing, background music, and also the Daredevil Netflix show soundtrack, especially the fight scenes from that soundtrack, where like I use that a lot for those like tense scenes, but they've got that classical dark academia undercurrent, which is really what Smithers and Wing is just a beautiful offering to dark academia.
Brilliant. I wrote these questions to the Edward Scissorhands playlist.
Oh, nice.
That's a classic. I haven't listened to that one in a long time.
That's so good. Yeah, it's so good. So outside of your own book, do either one of you read, and I don't mean like comics, like books, classical books, certain types of authors, certain genres? What type of reader are you? You too?
Like the collective
use, yeah. Do you want to go first, Heather?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have some overlap. I'm a really big fantasy reader, so I love all kinds of fantasy. I've been really loving the Ember and the Ashes series. I have got one book left. I'm so excited to read it, but I'm also at that way where I'm scared to finish it. I've also really loved the Rainbow Rowell's Carry On series. That's an amazing fantasy series. That again, the last book comes out like tomorrow or the day after. This is aging this podcast, sorry. It comes out in July. And so yeah, I read a lot of that. I really loved These Violent Delights, which was a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, but in like 1940s Shanghai, I think, and that was incredible. That one kind of pushed it a little bit for me because there's more like romance in that than there is actually, and like gangsters than there is actually fantasy, but there is a monster in it that like makes people rip their own faces off, so that'll do. I'm also I read Sheets recently, and I've got Delicates on my list, and so yeah, I think I took a bit of a break from comics, which I know sounds terrible, but of a break from reading comics because I've been writing a novel, so I've been reading a lot more novels to fuel that novel. But I just got some amazing recommendations actually from Fraser Campbell, another wonderful local writer. So I've got a big list now of books to pick up and like get back on the weeklies.
Fantastic.
Nice. So I think there are some things that we're both very fond of as well. Like we both love Ninth House, which I think is very much in line with Smithers and Wing vibes. And it was one of those books where I think Heather had recommended it to me, and once I read it, I was like, oh, this like has totally clicked for me with the script, and I totally see what we're doing now and what vibe I should be bringing, and it was just really helpful as well. I'm trying to think of other stuff recently. Really enjoyed A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, which was really fun. Total found family, queer, sci-fi, very gentle vibes, which is just like a really nice read. I read Leigh Bardugo's Shadow and Bone series, which was really fun. I found during lockdown I've just wanted to like binge fantasy series, and it's just been like my total comfort place lately. And then also like kind of similar dark academia vibes. Like I love Donna Tartt's stuff, like love The Secret History, and have a total like geeky English lit side to me as well. So like I quite happily have a big chunky classic to like get through as well.
You briefly touched on it just there. Are we allowed to talk about Punisher Barracuda?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's not really much to say. I drew 4 of the 5 issues. The whole thing was written. But I mean, once COVID, I mean, I don't know where it stands with Marvel now, but like I know not every project that they had is coming back. So I honestly just don't know.
Okay.
Hey everybody, my name is Kovex, Twitch streamer, TikToker, social media influencer, and now proud owner of Beard Demon, Sinfully Good Beard Care. It all started off as, you know, just a trial and error thing to make, you know, some beard butters and stuff for myself, because I am a bearded man. And from there, I started, you know, making some for friends who enjoyed them. And then I thought, this is something I could do, you know. My friends like them, I like them. Why not share it with a wider variety of people so I could actually give back in a way to my community that I've grew on TikTok, Instagram, Twitch. And that's how Beard Demon came about. We have a 7 Deadly Sins collection at the moment, which obviously ranges from envy, wrath, lust, all different smells, all different profiles, which I'm really proud of. We're now branched out into our oils and our beard washes, and soon we're going to be having our full grooming kits, which is going to consist of a butter, an oil, our brand new Himalayan cedarwood and tea tree beard wash, which is amazing, and you get yourself a nice wooden comb and a pair of scissors to trim your moustache and stuff. It's the full grooming kit for, you know, as a present for one of your loved ones or a friend. I'm really proud of it. Check us out. All our links will be down below. Check us out on Etsy. Check us out on all social medias. Beard Demon Shop, Beard Demon on Etsy, Beard Demon Shop, and everything else. I'd really appreciate it. Stay awesome, guys.
Do we like any fine arts? I've got a couple of people here that like the artistic sides. Yeah, absolutely cracking behind you. I have a background in Albert Art, which is a local gallery here. So I've got a few people that wanted this question put across to as many creators as I can give. So is there any fine art out there that takes your fancy? That not the stuff that's behind you, obviously.
You going for it or will I?
Yeah, I love a good visit to the gallery. So I really like. I mean, my sister Kirsty Palmer is an artist, and so she takes me places and she tells me about art, and that's how I know what's going on. Yeah, I'm a big fan of like Christine Borland, and obviously like I'm a big Munch fan, and he's sort of like there's always something horrifying sort of peering over my shoulder. In terms of Scottish art as well, I really love like Ruth Ewan and her sort of public art, and particularly those like discussions about what public art is, what it should be doing, what it's serving and who it's serving, who it's memorializing. Like her work on that is really, really incredible. Yes, and also there's been some like fantastic murals in Glasgow as well I've been really enjoying.
Nice. Yeah, I'd love to say that I was as highbrow as Heather. I'm like, I need to be taking in more influences and stuff here. I do. I don't think there's anyone contemporary in terms of fine art that I'm following, which is probably my loss for sure. I do a lot of like stealing when it comes to paintings and stuff, and I'll grab color palettes and like lighting and like kind of compositions from like old kind of master paintings at times. I'm like using something like that for one of our commissions for Smithers and Wing at the moment, and I'm like, I'll steal this pose, thank you very much. I kind of follow a lot of illustrators as well online because that's kind of relevant more to what I do, and often is like a bit of inspiration. Like I love the kind of crossover as well between comic artists who also do a lot of kind of illustrative stuff. Like I love Lisa Hannah-Walt, and her kind of her stuff is just such a great sort of alive vibe to it. So yeah, I do a lot of kind of following people online for that.
I'm also slowly filling up the house with Katie Whittle's art, which I would say illustration and fine art, yes. And Katie's stuff is incredible and horrifying. And I like to have I Eat Death. Just
I love that. Yeah, I really like that.
She's amazing, and all her work is beautiful. Perfect.
Perfect. So I am going to try and throw you both here. This is your first on the spot quick think question.
Oh God.
If you had to fight any Muppet, who would it be and why?
Ooh.
This is where I have to admit I never really got the Muppets.
Right, cool.
They're the Christmas Carol, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take this one. I would probably fight Gonzo, one, because I love him. He's probably my favourite Muppet. Also because he's a bit of a weirdo. I think he'd actually enjoy it. Like if you accidentally beat up Gonzo, I think he'd probably into it. Yeah, so I think I'd have to go for him. That's the dream, isn't it? The dream is being the one human person in the Muppet story that gets to like interact with all of them.
Yes, I feel like me and Miss Piggy have got like a lot in common.
We both have a lot of danger.
I feel like maybe we wouldn't fight, but maybe we'd like become best friends.
Just hash it out, have a light argument. If you had to choose just one thing to have a lifetime supply of, what would it be?
That's a tricky one. I think at the moment I would say outdoor space. Like I miss being outdoors a lot. We both live in central Glasgow, so I live opposite the petrol station. Really, that's been enjoyable over the pandemic. But yeah, outdoor space.
Yeah. I feel like, is it too boring and nerdy to say books, but certainly like they've kind of like kept me sane over the past however many months. And this feels hypocritical because I just chucked out like 300 of them and I've still not managed to like make the pile decrease any, but yeah, probably books.
Okay.
Books is such a good shout there as well.
It's on brand, I figured.
Yeah. I once helped our pal Alan McRitchie, who's also a fantastic comic artist and writer as well now, just trying to take everything, move, and he had put all his books in the middle of his floor, and there was a huge pile of books, and his dad's an architect, and he came in and he was like, Alan, get these out of the middle of the floor, you're going to bow the floor, there's too many books.
Oh no.
And I was like, that is what I long to achieve, is like to have so many books that I'm like a public health danger.
Your house just implodes.
Yeah, it's fall down.
Okay, so since we have quite a supernatural book, have either of you ever had a paranormal experience? Now, there is 3 points to this question, and it was written by Big Gary. And he has asked, have either of you ever seen a ghost, an alien, a UFO, or Bigfoot?
Okay. Wow.
You go.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, my best supernatural story I don't tell anyone because The problem with my best supernatural story is that every time I tell somebody the story, somebody they know dies, and I just don't take the risk.
No.
Yes.
That's too
So
good.
I haven't told my partner this story because I'm scared that I do in one of my in-laws. My mum made the mistake of telling a neighbour, his mother died. I told a friend, her friend died. It's just a bad time. So I don't never take the risk with my spookiest encounter, my spookiest story. But I'm fairly sure that I have seen lots of spooky goings on. I'm pretty sure I get like regular visitations from my grandma, which I know makes me sound insane. But I'm fairly sure she does turn up. I'm pretty sure I walked past the living room and she was in there once. But there you go. And I've never seen Bigfoot, but I'm fairly sure I've never seen a UFO, but I have once watched what was probably a cult meeting of just like rings of strange lights happening and then like a deserted hill in the Lake District, and I saw like all of these people. It must have been people carrying lights like coming down the hill, and then yes, forming some strange shapes. So there's a lot of weird goings on. There's a lot of weird goings on, and like I say, the petrol garage across the road.
Yeah, I'm not jealous of your terrible story, but I would love to see a ghost or actually experience any sort of supernatural haunting. I always say to people that I'm like right on the cusp of believing of ghosts. I'm like, it would take the barest thing to happen. I'd be like, yep, 100%, like this is happening. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't think I've had any super spooky encounters myself. There was a very creepy, like life-size child doll that we kept walking by that was in like the window of one of the flats, so we would go by on our walks in lockdown. So I'm pretty sure that having looked upon it, that's us cursed forever. Like it's already too late.
Yeah, your soul belongs to that doll now. I hope you know.
What can you do? Yeah. Can't say I've seen any UFOs, and in terms of Bigfoot, my partner's kind of like tall and generally hairy, so I've seen him like striding through the flat, but that's about as close as it's got.
That's amazing.
My little girl talks to the ceiling at night, and whatever's on the ceiling's name is Darrow.
Oh no.
I like to tell myself that maybe she has overheard an episode of Walking Dead.
Okay.
But
that would be the good outcome of this.
Yes,
is that she's heard a show that's like 15 years out of her age range.
Yeah.
That's definitely one of the major reasons that like I've not had kids yet, because they will just speak to unholy things.
Yeah. She really likes Queen, and I was holding her up and we were dancing to I Want to Break Free, because she thinks in that video that Roger Taylor's her mum. So Roger Taylor comes on the screen and she's like, Mummy.
Wow.
But she seen Freddie Mercury and she went, Freddie? And I went, Belle, how do you know that name? And she went, Darrow.
Oh.
Well, I think if you take anything from this, it's that Darryl's clearly providing a well-rounded education.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like he's covered Queen already. That's great. That's terrifying. I feel like kids are definitely tuned into something, and then we just like choose to ignore it for the rest of our lives.
They open the door to the uncanny for sure.
Yeah. We just choose to forget as we get older.
Yeah, it's for the best.
Moving on, do we have any conspiracy theories that we wish to be true?
We've been watching a lot of Martin Scorsese like documentaries about him talking about his love of American cinema. So I'd have Marty Scorsese in my film, and he would be my granddad, and that would be perfect.
Okay.
Oh, that would be perfect.
He'd like come over and make like marinara sauce for me and everything. It would just be lovely.